Why don't car manufacturers make cars look like they used to back in the 60s to 80s? A lot of the shapes of modern cars have to do with safety regulations and efficiency. Fuel efficiency. All those old blocky-shaped cars were generating air resistance that reduced their fuel efficiency. Stricter fuel efficiency standards have forced new cars to become streamlined so there's less drag. I think it'd be nice if all cars didn't look exactly the same. It's kinda like a case of converging evolution. Things like aerodynamics and safety regulations create a pressure towards an ideal design. There may be a few approaches to that, but they're limited to what the intended niche for the vehicle is. Sedan, SUV, truck, etc. That means most roles have a limited variability on the ideal. Though, evolution doesn't really work towards ideals. More like what works well enough. Two examples in biology are the fox and the hyena. The fox is related to canines, but evolved in an environment where there weren't any cats to fill a niche for solitary, agile hunters of small animals. So, they filled that role and ended up with feline aspects. Hyenas are the opposite case. A feline evolving in an environment without a canine equivalent. So, they ended up filling the role of a medium-sized canine pack hunter, chasing down large game in packs. Something I've always wondered too. Why can't car manufacturers make some sweet-looking classics again, but everything else is modern? Modern safety features like crumple zones, modern electronics, etc. Just the body styling is old school. The big three already did this about 15 years ago. The current Camaro, Mustang, Challenger, Charger are all retro, based on the late 60s models. Newer cars' design is safer. https://www.youtube.com/watch V equals FPF 4FBGNK0U. Safety. Unfortunately, I miss chrome bumpers too. The 60s certainly had some great slick designs, but the 80s cars were all about boxy monstrosities. I rather never see a return to those awful 80s designs. Safety and fuel efficiency are a couple of factors, but also they don't have the same feel. Take the Mini. In the 1960s, it was very cheap and very basic. To open the door from the inside, you just pulled on a bit of string. Everything was as basic as you could get. It had a speedometer, fuel gauge, oil pressure light and an ignition light. That was it. Nobody is going to buy a car that basic today. Which cars are made depends solely on the M=new car market. I got a new car less than a year ago. My choice was primarily influenced by fuel consumption, boot size, and number of doors. Looks are of little importance. Those cars were death traps, and it was because of the designs. One specific design, pop-up headlights, is not allowed anymore due to the pointiness being a much greater hazard in the event you hit someone. All I want is a first-gen 4Runner. If they remade Thay, I'd be so happy. My first car was a '69 Camaro 3-speed. No AC. Living in West Texas. Efficiency. Those boxy designs are equivalent to trying to get aerodynamics out of bricks. Everyone out here talking about efficiency and aerodynamics, yet we have 2023 Broncos that are a straight box. Cyan Cube. Vans. There are so many cars and vehicles out right now that are new and aren't as efficient as can be. But with new materials and designs for crumple zones, you could still do classic designs with newer safety features. I'm sure it's possible. You wouldn't be able to just remake the car. They wouldn't meet any safety regulations. It would need heavy modification, and would ruin the look and the point. Low-volume manufacturers are exempt from safety regulations, but they're limited to 300 cars a year last I saw the law. So between the raw costs of tooling up production, and the limited amount they could sell, they'd have to be ludicrously expensive to make any financial sense. On top of having to make a new company, Chevy or whoever probably can't just make a new subsidiary because they would obviously be cheating. So whoever this new group is making the cars is going to need to license the Chevy namesake or get sued into oblivion. So at that point it makes more sense to just buy the original old car and restomod it. A lot of the cars nowadays look the same because the designers are trying to meet much higher safety standards plus as high fuel efficiency, aerodynamic, as possible. In the 50s and 60s, gas was cheap and safety as basic as seatbelts weren't a universal thing, so the look of cars could be more about style and manufacturing. The car designers can test all sorts of shape designs and do computer simulations of airflow and crashes and iterate on them, so then a lot of the designs end up looking similar. Take for example the original Challenger. Trying reproduce that same look in modern times with a car that meets modern safety standards and required fuel efficiency levels results in something similar but a bit different, a lot thicker for the crumple zones and safety around the cabin, and then adjusting the aerodynamics where necessary. Passenger jets basically look the same as 55 years ago, the late 60s. The only major changes have been getting them down to 2 engines plus winglets. Aerodynamics is the same, plus they're using lighter materials and better engines to increase fuel efficiency. You'd have to go to something with significantly different parameters like supersonic flight to make a plane that looks different, like the Concorde. Because they were all around pretty shoddy. Yeah, sure, they looked pretty, but they were bulky, heavy, and inefficient. Most people complain about modern pickup trucks and how they're bad with fuel. I can guarantee you that any car from the 70s is worse. Older cars are basically bricks on wheels, way too heavy for their size, and not aerodynamic in the slightest. Also, many older cars don't have modern safety features. These features take up space, meaning you can't make that slick '69 Chevy Camaro look anymore without stepping on legal no-nos. I've been saying this for years. Put in all the modern pollution control, modern electronics, whatever, but make it look like a '69 Camaro or a '65 Mustang.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aerocast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.